She was so careless even in her disguise that I wondered. Does she think I'm easy to fool? Or does she simply not bother to pretend in front of me? After I left the villa area, several sports cars that looked very expensive followed me. Those rich girls in the car tried to cut in maliciously several times. They seemed to take this as fun. After I fell to the ground in a panic, they laughed and left. Of course. Their conversation came to my ears. Will Katrina be angry about us? You are worrying too much. She won't be angry with us because of this man. Don't you know Katrina? How could she like him? Garnett Patrick has returned. Katrina will cut off contact with that man sooner or later. Their car was getting farther and farther away, but there seemed to be a loudspeaker beside them, allowing me to hear them very clearly. The stinging pain in my knee brought me back from my thoughts. I looked into Katrina's eyes, trying to find the guilt in her eyes after deceiving me. Katrina threw the cotton swab into the trash can. It seemed that I said too little tonight. She raised her head in confusion. What's wrong with you tonight? Why don't you say anything? She came closer to me, and only then did she realize that the corners of my eyes were wet. Her eyes fell directly on my face. She was obviously at a loss and could only stroke my back gently. This was her usual way of comforting me. Why are you crying? Did the payer of the order give you a hard time? Or is it because I came back home late tonight? I had just calmed down, but what Katrina asked angered me. She gently wiped my wet eyes. Neither? Then why? Katrina couldn't find out the reason no matter how hard she tried. Leaving her anxious, I sniffed and tried to force a smile. I'm fine. It just hurt when the disinfectant touched the wound. She wiped my tears and asked with a frown. Not believing me completely. Really? I nodded. While I was having shrimp with Katrina, I planned to give her a chance to confess. Katrina, do you have anything to say to me? I held my breath, expecting to hear something from her. She shook her head. We are together every day. I have told you everything. Seeing that she had no intention of confessing the truth, I felt like I was falling into an icy cave. If I failed to grab that order tonight, how long would I be kept in the dark? But in the end, I held back the questions that I had been brewing all night. I didn't know how to start or how to ask. We had been together for 3 years. Not a short time. When I woke up the next day, Katrina had prepared breakfast. She picked up the keys from the table and gave me a kiss on the cheek as usual. I'm going to work, I called out as she was about to leave. Katrina. She turned and looked at me. Are you free tonight? I want to talk to you, I asked. She hesitated for a moment and finally nodded as the door closed. The house became quiet again. Quietness was like a silent beast, constantly devouring my love for Katrina.